Welcome to Real-ationship Goals, a podcast all about the realities of healthy relationships. Real-ationship Goals is a project of the Advocacy Center for Crime Victims and Children in Waco, Texas. If you or someone you know has experienced sexual violence or harassment and is seeking support, services, or needs more information, links to resources and our hotline number can be found in the description. The views expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect those of their organizations or affiliates.
Hey guys, welcome back to Real-ationship Goals, episode 10. This is our second to last episode for this season. So exciting just to have gotten to this point. Thank you guys so much for being here. We love to have you here. So I don't know why I said that like that. So we're going to start over. Don't mind me. My brain killed out halfway through.
It's okay, we didn't have a timer.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, okay.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, welcome back to Real-ationship Goals episode 10. This is our second to last episode for this season, and we are so glad that you are here with us today. My name's Kyla.
My name is Maria.
My name is Ariana.
Awesome. So we are going to jump in today with our story, which I also have. And we are finally talking about the movie Cyberbully from 2011. We lightly teased talking about that episode in our cyberbullying episode, but it actually also fits with this one as well. So part of this movie and part of the plot is that our main character, Emily Osment, is the actress's name because I can't remember her character's name at this point. But she is talking online through this like social media website that is somewhat akin to both MySpace and Facebook because it was the early 2010s, so we're all floating in that sphere. So she is speaking to this guy who goes to another school, and they're just kind of chatting, flirting online. She really likes him. She thinks he's fun, he's cool, he's smart. So she starts just sharing like more and more personal things with him. Just as they get to know each other more, she feels a really, really strong connection with him. Feels like he really understands her. And then later in the movie, it is revealed that he doesn't exist. He is not a real person. And instead, it was actually one of her best friends pretending to be this guy online and talking to her. So she used somebody else's photo and filled in the profile with fake information in order to trick her friend into thinking that she was someone else. Yikes.
Yeah.
I love that.
That plot was kind of...
It's sarcastic, not not real.
I said, tell me more about that.
Well,
Yeah, it was kind of because the friend was basically just trying to get her attention off another guy that they actually went to school with. So she pretended to be this guy. But in the end, she caused more harm than joy.
So much harm.
So much harm.
I would have said spoiler alert, except for the fact that I just don't recommend this movie.
We don't recommend this movie.
So
it is a bit goofy. No, you're fine.
Not idealistic. Yeah. But yes, thank you, Kyla, for sharing that story with us.
Our favorite movie.
So yes, if you have not yet known by today's title, today we are talking about catfishing. So, you know, we love our definitions over here. So defined by Fortinet Cyber Glossary, catfishing is basically referring to when a person takes images or information typically from other people and uses them to create new identities for themselves. So most of the time what that looks like, they can take images, they can take the date of their birth, geographical information where that person lives and stuff like that, just trying to portray like they are that person. So catfishing. Maria, Kyla, what are your thoughts on catfishing?
I think it's the stupidest thing ever.
Tell me more.
Enlighten me.
Enlighten me.
Share more on those thoughts.
I just like for me, like, honesty
Mhm.
is like a huge thing. So why would you go through the lengths of creating this whole fake thing and portraying yourself as someone you're not?
Mhm.
To like, because most of the times you see it in, like, let's say for example, like dating apps,
Mhm.
like you will see people catfishing as other people,
Yeah.
and it is just like, why? Like, if you want someone to like you, or if you want to talk to someone and like really engage with them, like show up as who you are authentically. And I like sometimes that can be hard, depending on like your personality and everything like that. But at the end of the day, like, it I feel like it feels better for someone to like you for who you are
Mhm.
rather than who you portray yourself as being.
It's definitely hard because in no instance is catfishing okay, period.
Mm-mm.
Not acceptable, not good, don't do it. I do feel for the folks that struggle like with anxiety. It's like, oh, like, or are deeply insecure.
Mm-mm.
I feel for you. I'm so sorry that you feel that way. I hope that you're able to learn to like love and appreciate and celebrate yourself.
Mm-mm.
I want that very deeply for you. I do like, I feel, I feel for them.
Yeah.
I feel for that. I understand the temptation
Mm-mm.
to portray yourself as someone else that maybe you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. It's still not okay.
Yeah.
I feel less
Mm.
for folks that catfish others with malicious intent.
Yes.
That is also not okay.
Mm.
And possibly a little less okay. A
Mhm.
little more not okay.
Yeah.
So
Potentially become unhealthy, or not even potentially. It
it
is
is, yeah.
unhealthy.
Out of the gate.
Out of just
Yeah.
no, forget potential.
Yeah.
It is unhealthy. But it could also become more on the dangerous
Mhm.
side of things. Especially like within today's time in the media, where they're coming out with so many shows of how catfishing is displayed in the media and how it actually just
We've got a whole TV show about it.
we got catfishing
Yeah.
for sure. And then I know there's a series on Netflix that we were talking about,
Oh, The Circle.
The Circle,
Oh,
where you can catfish people and pretend to be somebody else, or you can
yeah. Be yourself.
be your authentic self. Um,
It's
yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just like it's everywhere, so it's very, very real.
Mhm.
But I'm saying like it could become dangerous for the simple fact, like if you have that malicious intent, like if you're luring them for money or just other things like incentives, like if
Mhm.
you're giving gifts to this person, like you don't know actually who this person is, but they're
Mhm.
portraying to be something else, and when they finally do meet you,
Yeah.
that can open up a whole can of emotions.
Mhm.
So, yeah, catfishing, ugh, is very unlikely. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I think something else people don't like really think about when they're catfishing is you are using someone's name and image and everything.
Yeah.
What kind of repercussions is it going to have on the person whose picture you're using?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you're going
So
out and you're
true.
doing things like, let's say I am Annabelle's favorite one, Billy Bob. Um, she
The
called
name,
she
Billy
called
Bob.
everyone Billy
Oh,
Bob.
okay.
Not
I
like,
thought you were talking about an actual person. I said, who is Billy Bob?
you don't know Billy
Gosh, I
Bob?
don't.
But Billy Bob, if I'm like pretending to use Billy Bob's picture
Yeah.
and I'm going out and doing things Billy Bob wouldn't normally do, like
So
harassing
true.
people on the internet,
Mhm.
now people are going to associate and say like, oh, well, Billy Bob, the real Billy Bob, does go out and do all these things. And it can get them in trouble with their family, their friends, their work. Like, you have the potential to really harm someone's life.
That's so true. I think a common use of like photos for catfishing and stuff can also be like maybe like B or like C level, like, or grade, I don't know exactly what it's called, like celebrities
Mhm.
or like models and things like that. I feel like I've seen a lot of stories of where it's folks being like, or I've actually seen social media posts. Sorry, just unlocked a door in my brain. I feel like I've seen like probably screenshotted from the archives of the internet. Social media posts where somebody will like tweet or message like just an attractive person and be like, "Hey, can I get a photo of you making X pose so I can catfish this person?"
Mhm.
Just
Wow.
woo, wow.
I've seen on TikTok where
Right.
friends use each other
Yeah.
to like, if like you have like an attractive friend, you're like, hey, like I want to catfish so and so, will you like let me use your pictures? And it was on a TikTok somewhere, and the friend's like, yeah, I'll go with it, and I'm like,
Unsafe.
ah,
That's
Yeah.
also just unsafe.
That is
yes.
very unsafe.
Like take a picture of you with a spoon on your head, like.
So
Ugh.
yeah, we talked a little bit about how, you know, catfishing can affect people. Well, how do you think it impacts people that are on the receiving side of that?
Oh, so badly. I'm just thinking about like deep like trust being broken and like
Mhm.
shattered, and how that can impact like your future relationships. Like that's gonna be traumatic.
Yeah.
And like I think especially like cases and stuff like on the show like Catfish,
Yeah.
like which is exaggerated, and I could go into thoughts on shows about things like that. But like I think about how like especially if like a lot of instances these are like romantic relationships that people are trying to form where
Mhm.
like they may trust and tell this person things that they've never told anyone. They might divulge like deep secrets, and to have that be broken is just that's
Kind of detrimental
that's so
to that person on the receiving end.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's kind of hard for them, especially like when you're engaging with somebody online, and that's most of the time what you do. That's how, like, if you're dating, you're on the dating apps and all those things. If you do that most frequently, then going in person and meeting up with people, how traumatic that can be in trying again to build another relationship online. So,
like some apps try to like curve that by having an authentication thing where like, let's say I want to be on like a social, like a dating app, and then it's like, oh, you can be verified if you take a picture of like your driver's license or like you doing like certain things, and somebody like a person will like actually, hopefully a person
We'll analyze that.
yeah, will analyze and be like, that's you. And like kind of like thinking on the flip side as well, catfishing is used for other things other than like relationships. Like police officers will use it as like, you know, to catch predators and things. Leave that to law enforcement.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Leave
Don't
it to
take that
law
upon
enforcement.
yourself.
Don't
Don't
put
engage.
yourself in danger.
Don't engage with those people.
Yeah. And like there are like how we had talked about when we were talking about anonymities is there are positivities, like positive sides
Safety
to it,
things.
safety things. But I don't know, like catfishing, like we talked earlier today off the podcast about like fake profiles of like, I think you had said that there was like a zebra.
Yeah, on Tinder.
Yeah, on Tinder, and like I've seen Shreks and
like goofy stuff.
yeah,
Where
goofy
it's,
stuff.
like if it's playful and it is very obviously like not someone intending, like it's like, oh, I'm like playing as this thing for like laughs.
I'll be a tree.
Yeah, and it's like I'm just being goofy. Like
Yeah.
that's very different. And that's funny, and we appreciate you for doing that because it is funny.
Yeah.
I was telling them earlier, I've seen Star Wars characters on Tinder before, and it is so funny. And I think that's a fun thing.
If you're listening to this, we appreciate you.
Yeah. But yeah, overarchingly though, I think that catfishing is not good. And I think that things like that are also just kind of separate.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's not a genuine effort to like mislead or misrepresent, thank you, to like misrepresent who they are. So I feel like it's kind of different, but yeah, just no good.
Yeah.
So it just kind of once again kind of comes to the call of like, just take a second before you do this. Take a little bit of time and really think about how it's going to make the other person feel.
Right.
And I guess like a good thing is, what are some impacts that catfishing might have on the person that's engaging in that behavior? What do you think that does to them mentally?
It's more of a power trip.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have some, like, especially like if they build a meaningful relationship with that person, like they know for in fact,
It's like a control.
like a control thing, like
Yeah.
they know for a fact, like this person is attached to me. I have a little power and control. Like I can literally get anything I want out of this person because they believe that I am genuinely this person and that I care for them and that I want to see them or whatever the case may be. I feel like in their minds, it's more of like, I have so much power and I have so much control over this person right now. And it's like I think it can be a validation type thing as well. It's like, you know, if I was to do this in person or if I was to try to engage with people in person, I wouldn't have got maybe the time of the day. But now that I'm doing this online, it's like, oh, I feel great. They're validating me. They actually care about me. And it could take that aspect turn as well. So
I was also thinking, just kind of like, is tied to this, but also the opposite, I think, as well. So like for folks that we kind of talked about that maybe have that like deep-seated insecurity and like anxiety about their own self-worth, and that's why they misrepresent themselves. I'll say this portray again, misrepresent themselves, and how that can like validate those insecurities of it's like, oh, I'm not worth anything, and like this proves that. Like the only way that men or that women or that folks are gonna pay attention to me is if I'm someone else. Because like I'm like this just proves to me that I'm not worthy. And that's
not
so
true.
sad. And my heart breaks at that thought.
And I was also thinking, like, I'm writing notes as like they come to me as to not interrupt. But like when it like the facade starts to crumble,
Oh,
yeah, like I feel like that could also lead to like a slew of like mental health issues because it's like I put everything into like crafting
yeah.
this relationship and like it was going great, but now and they were like loving who I was being, and now it's like if that was your only friend or like anything like that, like now you don't have anything.
Yeah.
And so the thing you were trying to cure, which was like maybe in this instance like loneliness, like it's a deeper hole. Like you dig yourself a deeper hole, and I think like it just like you were saying, like it just fuels that insecurity even more. Unfortunately.
Well, on that heavy sigh note,
Sorry.
no, it's a hard episode. It's a hard episode, and it's kind of like a heavy heart episode, I think too. But it is just it's such a reality. And like we said, it's so prevalent and so not on social media, in like the media that we consume. It's in TV shows, it's in songs, it's in movies. It's everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere in pop culture. So it's something that we need to talk about and we need to recognize is an issue. And catfishing is not a solution. It's not. It's just going to cause more problems, and it's just going to cause more hurt. But I do think this is a good opportunity to transition into our relationship goal, which Maria has for us today.
Hi. Mine is to be open and honest with others. I think maybe if you know, like if you're feeling like a disconnection from people and you're wanting to make friends online, like you will find someone that vibes with you and that level just as you authentically. So I think like practicing on being open and honest and like making like baby steps if you do have those like really deep rooted anxiety and insecurities could like help lead you to more like positive and more like stronger bonds with other people. So
thank you. And then I have our recommendation for today, which is good mood music. I listen to just about everything under the sun except country. Sorry. But something that I've been trying to do more intentionally in the last few weeks is listening to music that makes me feel good and that makes me feel happy. And that has just very positively impacted like my outlook. Like I was telling Everett, my partner, I was like, oh, I listened to happy music on like my drive down here to see you. And I noticed that it impacted like just my emotions and things like that, like rather than listening to like Olivia Rodrigo or her, even though I love her and I will continue to listen to her. Like whenever I listen to like more of the like upset, aggressive, like breakup music, that kind of fuels like aggression or frustration in me, even though, especially most of the time, it's unfair and undue. He has done nothing wrong, but I'm still like, grr, I'm gonna fight him. And I'm like, why? So instead, I've been trying to be more intentional about just listening to music that makes me feel good, because that also just kind of impacts my overarching outlook. So I'm gonna save the more aggressive breakup music for workouts and things like that. So that's my recommendation. Listen to things that make you feel good. But thank you guys so much for joining us for today's episode. If you're looking for more P&E content, please follow us on Instagram at ACCVC_prevention. And follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on YouTube so you never miss an episode. And we will be back for our last episode of the season next week. See you then. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to Real-ationship Goals. This episode was produced by the Prevention and Education Department of the Advocacy Center for Crime Victims and Children in Waco, Texas. You can follow us on Instagram at ACCVC_prevention. See you next time.